Hello, hello, good evening. Welcome back into KCTV5 Plus. I'm Katie Byrd. It's just about 8:45 p.m. here. I'm going to break down top local and national headlines tonight before your KCTV5 news at 10. But before we do that, we're going to go down a walk down memory lane of the March special reports right here on KCTV5. I've got to say, this month we covered such a vast array of different topics with this team. I'm excited to break them down for you. First off here, you may remember, of course, the 169 highway bridge closed in December, but it didn't just close. It actually sent a warning. KCTV found that around 250 bridges in our area are on a watch list. And you might wonder, like me, are these the bridges that you drive every day to work, to school, or just to get home? Well, KCTV5 anchor Sharon Chen digs into the real concern behind our Kansas City area bridges and why some engineers say that time is running out. Let's listen in.
Every day, Kansas City drivers cross over hundreds of bridges without a second thought, until they can't.
Amy's making it right now.
Welcome to Alla Bloom Florist in North Kansas City, where 95% of the business is deliveries.
I'm a part-time delivery guy, yeah.
But lately, Dave Downing's job has been challenging.
The trouble's downtown, coming into North Kansas City.
The Highway 169 bridge connecting Kansas City to the north shut down in December after major structural issues were found.
It's been a whole mess.
Navigating around all that trouble is Logan Abernathy. She's operations coordinator.
With that bridge closing, it takes our drivers a lot longer to get in, and they have to usually go around on that bridge.
From driving to work or taking the kids to school, for most of us, bridges are invisible until one closes.
Every bridge is inspected at least every 2 years.
We tagged along for MoDOT's inspection of this bridge on I-70 near the Benton Curve.
So this is a joint that is aging.
Mark Corkin is assistant chief engineer.
At the web, they're always looking for things that are shifted out of place, fall, dips, sags.
The bridges are rated on a 9-point scale, 9 being a new bridge, 0 being it's shut down.
The things that I pay attention to, you know, when you get down to a 4 and down to a 3.
Nearly 800 bridges in Missouri are designated as poor or structurally deficient.
A bridge like this might be rated poor and still be safe for 20 years.
With at least 246 in the Kansas City area, chances are you cross one of them every day, and most have a rating of 4 or less.
The most recent national report card on infrastructure by the American Society of Civil Engineers gave both Missouri and Kansas bridges a C, meaning they're mediocre and in need of attention.
The thing I worry about right now isn't really the number of deficient bridges, it's the size of some of them.
What Corkin calls major bridge replacements.
We've been saying for a decade we should be replacing 2 of those a year, and we're struggling to do that.
So for people who watch this story, overall safety of our bridges, what would you say?
I have the utmost confidence that the bridges are safe.
But for the nearly 250 already on the watch list, the clock is ticking, including this one.
I do know that we had that scheduled to be replaced before the World Cup, and we tried hard to stretch it out.
Back at Alla Bloom, the deliveries keep coming, and the detours keep adding up.
See ya.
It's a little worrisome. Try not to think about it. Just try and get over the bridge.
And somewhere out there, a bridge with a rating of 4 or 3 is still carrying the weight of this city. The question isn't whether Kansas City's bridges are safe today. It's whether we'll wait until they're not. Sharon Chen, KCTV5 News.
Such an insightful report. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't think about on a daily basis, is how structurally sound is the bridge I'm driving on. I mean, you just drive on it, and I mean, you heard it there. It's not often how many projects there are to do. It's the size of some of these projects. I mean, fixing a bridge is no simple and easy task, especially when you take into the account the thousands upon thousands of people that drive on them every single day. And with the World Cup on the horizon, there will be a whole lot more people driving on these bridges this summer. Well, next up, for the next special report I'm breaking down tonight, you guys, this was supposed to be one of the happiest days of Brie Bower's life. It was when she welcomed her third son into the world, and that's when tragedy struck. It caused her to lose all 4 of her limbs. And we first brought you Brie's story earlier in 2026, and even though back then it was hard for her to think about the future, her story teaches us that what you do next is what really defines you. Taking it next to KCTV5 sports director Marlia Campbell with the next chapter of Brie's story. Take a listen in.
Brie's grit stands out. She's someone that has been through a lot. She has a tragic story, but also a heroic one.
Nothing was wrong, and then something was wrong, and you just are like, oh my gosh, that could be anybody.
Brie Bower has been waiting 2 years for a phone call she feared might never come. The mom of 3 had all 4 limbs amputated after complications from childbirth caused sepsis. She spent most days since on dialysis, in desperate need of a kidney donor.
A good ending for me where I get a kidney transplant and we take out the time spent on dialysis and appointments, our quality of life would improve tremendously.
Brie's medical history made her a tough match. Weeks, months, and years passed. Then one call changed everything.
Disbelief. It took a couple days really to understand how it's a perfect match. I still kind of don't believe it.
It just so happened that this person was a match, a perfect match, so it was very surprising that it turned out like this.
That might sound like the finish line. She'll have her transplant surgery, get off dialysis, and resume her life. But really, the marathon is just beginning.
Knowing my history of things kind of always going the wrong way, I don't think I'll be truly excited until, after the transplant and until I get the dialysis stuff out of my house. That's when I'll know that we're good.
The stakes go beyond one surgery. For Brie, a working kidney could unlock something she's been fighting for since the day she woke up without her limbs.
When you have limbs that require prostheses, if you swell or run risk of infection around those limbs, then you can't wear a prosthesis, or the size changes and it doesn't fit right. So coming off dialysis and having a kidney that can manage fluid for somebody is life-changing, because all of a sudden those other things are possible.
Like someday walking or holding her baby boy.
I know I'm not going to be crawling back arms or legs. It is what it is. And I'm not going to let this, situation stop me from what I want to do in my life.
A perfect match gave Brie Bower a second chance. Now she's doing what she's always done, taking the next step. Marlia Campbell, KCTV5 News.
Brie's strength is truly incredible, and since this report earlier in March, Brie actually posted an update on her social media. I'm happy to share that with you now. She indeed did have a successful kidney transplant, and if you're wondering who it was from her very own brother. Now, there are thousands of people who have their own stories and journeys, and they're desperately waiting for their kidney transplant, and you can give them a selfless gift of a brighter future if you want to be a donor. If you're interested in seeing if you're a match with anyone on the waiting list, all you have to do is call the KU Transplant Center. That's 913-945-6929, or you can go to the University of Kansas Health System's webpage on transplants as well. Now, you guys, before we get into this next special report, I want to set the scene for you. a little bit. This is of a Wyandotte County Detention Center officer who's facing a second-degree murder charge and a county email account that was never shut off, even when the officer was put on unpaid administrative leave. Now, KCTV5 Investigates actually obtained hundreds of emails that reveal who the officer has been talking to and why it could have an impact on the ongoing court case. Now, investigative reporter Samantha Boring brings us the details. Take a listen.
When a detention officer is charged with murder and sent home, what happens next? For Richard Fatherly, the answer surprised us. Not only was he never arrested, he still had access to his Wyandotte County email account. But to understand why that matters, you need to know how we got here.
This is 50-year-old Charles Adair, a father, son, and brother. Last year on Independence Day, he was taken to the Wyandotte County Jail, but never got to leave. On July 4th, he was arrested on outstanding misdemeanor warrants for failing to appear on multiple traffic violations. The next day, July 5th, 2025, Adair had a wound on his leg and was taken to the Wyandotte County Jail's infirmary. When he was wheeled back to his cell, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation says Adair began yelling, refusing to listen, and physically resisted. The KBI went on to say that when attempting to remove his handcuffs, Adair kept resisting. The release says, quote, "They gained control, removed the cuffs, and left the cell." Immediately after, Adair was found unresponsive. He was gone less than an hour later. We didn't get a clear picture of what happened until 2 months later, September 5th, 2025. The KBI shared Adair's death was being ruled a homicide. The coroner's report lists his cause of death as complications of mechanical asphyxia, when an object or physical force prevents someone from breathing. The report also includes a key detail that the KBI report did not. During the altercation, it says one officer kneeled on Adair's back, and he went unresponsive during the struggle. September 18, 2025. Wyandotte County Detention Officer Richard Fatherly is charged with unintentional but reckless second-degree murder. Fatherly has never spent a single night behind bars, which, while legal, is a reality Adair's family and the public have questioned. They've demanded Fatherly face the same consequences as anyone else charged with murder.
No arrests, no mugshot, just unpaid leave. That raised a question. Does Fatherly still have any ties to the sheriff's office? We filed more than a dozen open records requests to find out.
Here's what we received. More than 400 emails showing Richard Fatherly still has an active sheriff's office email account, and he's been using it.
There's really no reason that should have been a possibility.
Steve Lieben is a UMKC law professor who spent 27 years on the Kansas bench, including 13 years as an appellate judge. The emails show three things. Fatherly was still treated in some ways as an active employee. He was still in contact with coworkers, and he was still talking to witnesses in his own murder case. On October 12, 2025, less than a month after being charged with murder and placed on unpaid leave, Fatherly received this email asking for overtime volunteers.
He replied within a minute saying, "I'm in." Why was he on that email list? I don't really understand that.
KCTV5 Investigates confirmed his last day of work was September 17th, 2025. These emails show Fatherly was still on the sheriff's office-wide email list, receiving a notice for mandatory use of force training in November. He replied saying he was on unpaid leave. The training deputy responded, quote, "Stop checking your mail," with an emoji. Fatherly simply replied, "No." Another email in December shows a jail employee discussing rosters. Fatherly replies, quote, "Sir, I'm on unpaid administrative leave. I have not sent a roster as I am not able to." The employee replies in part, quote, "Son, that's for the future, but you already knew that."
The nature of the communications here is such that it seems to make it look that he's still in good standing with the sheriff's department.
Then there's the contact that concerns Lieben most. In November, Ryan Schuler, who is listed as a witness by the state, sent a group email to more than 15 jail employees, including Fatherly. It was about updating contact information for jail operations. Fatherly replied no, but didn't get a response. And then there's this. On the night of October 25th, Richard Fatherly emailed a YouTube link to Roger Bilyeu. Bilyeu is a deputy who is listed as a state witness in the case. The two exchanged casual emails with multiple responses from both Bilyeu and Fatherly regarding the YouTube link.
They start talking about inmates and physical force. That's not something you want the person listed number 3 on the complaint as a witness to be discussing with the defendant before trial.
All of this made possible because the Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office never deactivated Fatherly's email. KCTV5 Investigates asked the Sheriff's Office if his email access was revoked. Captain Michael Croning replied, sharing in part, quote, "Email is restricted based on each circumstance. Given that this investigation has nothing to do with email access, his was not restricted." And while that part is true, Professor Lieben warns the email contact could now complicate the case at trial.
The way it's been handled here sends a message, whether intended or not, that it has not been treated as seriously as it might have been.
Yeah, I mean, someone lost their life.
I think in any case where someone has lost their life, the public expects the situation to be treated seriously.
Since first appearing for court in November, Fatherly has not entered a plea. He heads back to court on April 13th for a preliminary hearing. Both the Wyandotte County Sheriff and the District Attorney's Office declined our request for an interview for this story. For KCTV5 Investigates, I'm Samantha Boring.
Here at KCTV5, we will continue to track the latest updates in this case as they're made available. Now, next up on the special report, March recap from stress to anxiety, trauma, and even internal wounds. Most of us, unfortunately, carry them in some way, but many of us don't know how to let them go or how to cope with these emotions. And it can feel like the weight lives in your body and it can affect your overall well-being. Well, one Kansas City woman is actually using the power of breath to help people heal, and the science behind it may surprise you. Taking it over to KCTV5 anchor Lauren Magarino. Take a listen in.
It's a Saturday night in Lenexa, and some 50 Kansas Cityans are feeling a high without a drug or drink. Each person releasing their worries, their traumas, by harnessing their breath. This is 9D Breathwork.
You got this. You got this.
And in this symphony of sound, Colette Wilson is the conductor.
Remember, you're safe.
I knew even before 9D was a true entity that I was going to be involved with it. So I was there from the very, very inception.
Wilson is just the third of more than 90 certified facilitators around the world, guiding people through this global wellness movement.
So it was bringing science and modern technology with the ancient wisdom of the breath and bringing them together for these amazing experiences.
Staying with your breath.
From sustained conscious breathing to layers of sounds engineered to tap certain brain activity.
And what begins to shift is the nervous system.
The fire within me remembers.
The goal, as Wilson explains, is to release trauma by regulating the nervous system.
We have so much neuroscience behind what's going on with breathwork that it's no longer woo-woo, it's actually woo-true.
When it comes to research on breath and its effect on the brain, neuroscientist Jack Feldman is one of the pioneers.
Imagine you're walking on dirt, and you're walking around in a circle, and you keep walking and walking and walking. What happens if you keep walking enough? You're going to start to create a little bit of a ditch, and the ditch will get deeper and deeper and deeper. And that, you might say, is analogous to what happens to people who have severe cases of depression and anxiety, that they have this set of neurons that are strongly connected to each other, and the activity keeps reverberating around that circuit. But you can actually disrupt those circuits just by changing your breathing pattern.
Feldman says doctors now use breathwork as a therapy to treat patients diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and panic disorders. As for 9D breathwork, he says the jury is still out on how far adding types of sound can go, but believes people can test it themselves.
Protected by ancestors.
So, scientists have to be skeptical, not cynical, but skeptical. Let's see the data. And in this case, I think individuals can say, okay, I'm going to do the experiment on myself. Give it a shot.
So just circle breathe like that.
Jason Prayson did.
Breathwork turned into my drug.
He says it helped him begin to heal from deep grief.
My father passed away at 3, so I had some abandonment wounds and things like I needed to deal with.
From the unseen scars of a surgery that left him in a coma and a traumatic career in law enforcement.
And of course, Machismo won. I didn't do anything with it. Ended up getting divorced a year later and spent the next 13 years on PTSD meds and just living life, drinking a lot.
And the leader within begins to rise.
Until breathwork helped him not numb, but navigate his emotions.
Cops aren't shaking when they're going through that. They're bottling that stuff up. And it doesn't release when you sign off at the end of the shift. It doesn't come out of your body.
Prayson is now a 9D facilitator himself, hoping to help first responders.
When you need to impress.
Wilson's mission is also personal. Her mother struggled with mental illness.
She tried all sorts of medications, always with a counselor, therapist, inpatient treatments, and eventually it turned into chronic pain, chronic fibromyalgia, you name it.
It manifested physically.
It manifested physically, and she still was constantly looking for safety and peace, and she died at 55, not finding any of that. Yeah. And I turned 55 this year. And this is my gift. It's my gift to Kansas City because I know this would have saved my mom's life.
She opened Still Point Studios to offer 9D breathwork. Only 2 months in, she's sold out every session.
So in the chaos of life, what could our community look like if everyone slowed down and took the time to breathe and rewire their nervous system?
I was a cop. I came home unregulated. I brought that trauma from the field to my family. And they had the repercussions of it. And being able to talk to them and have conscious communications now and apologize and hear them say, "It's okay, Dad." There's something powerful here.
It's been repairing for your family.
Yes, absolutely.
I have this vision and this mission of Kansas City. We're already known as the Heartland, but Kansas City actually being known as a regulated community. Like the ripple effect of one person having a regulated nervous system is exponential.
In Kansas City, one breath at a time, Wilson is betting that healing one person heals a community.
You are home. Welcome back.
It's amazing to see the kind of impact 9D breathwork is having. If you're anything like me, after seeing this report, you may kind of want to dip your toes in it and give it a try. Well, before you venture into something like 9D breathwork, the researcher that Lauren spoke with, his name is Jack Feldman. He has a tip to just try regular breathwork. It's super simple, 5 minutes a day of slow breathing. You may be wondering now, how slow? He says about 6 breaths per minute. Now, it might not sound like a big change, but it really does help calm down your system. Now, I also spoke with Lauren recently on her Behind the Story report. We spoke more on the community impact it's had. I mean, this studio's only been open a few months and it already sells out just about every session, as well as Lauren's experience. It was really interesting to hear a firsthand account of what can be such an impactful experience for so many different people. You can find that link on this story at kctv5.com. You guys, we have one more special report to dive into today. I've got to say, this is quite an impactful one. It actually started as an adventure in another country to see some whale sharks, but it turned into something much more meaningful. It's an international mission to give girls an even playing field, and it's growing. And right here in Kansas City, you can contribute. Well, KCTV5 sports director Marlia Campbell shares how you can help empower girls who are over 1,000 miles away. Take a listen to this.
Deep beneath the crystal clear waters of Roatan, Honduras, lies the unlikely starting point for a Kansas City mission to change the future for girls 1,600 miles from here. If you've ever laced up cleats or watched your daughter do it, you know what it means to have a team. For girls in Roatan, that chance hasn't always existed. So how did two women from Kansas City end up changing that? Well, let's backtrack. This story starts with two career-driven women, Sierra, working marketing in New York City, and Julie, partner at a law firm.
I was burnt out, and my mom and dad wanted to go on a scuba trip, and they wanted to see whale sharks.
I wanted something different, so I took up scuba diving.
Both settled here, calling Roatan their new home. Beautiful on the surface, but holding a dark reality for girls who grow up here.
Culturally, they are all expected to get married. They get married very young. They have babies young. That is their hope for safety and financial security. They tend to go to work, as soon as they can and can find a job. Most jobs are in the hospitality industry.
You go to any elementary school, any high school down here, secondary school, there's a men's soccer team, or a boys soccer team, a boys basketball team. There is not a girls soccer team, girls basketball team.
And so, Academia de Futbolista was born. A grassroots nonprofit creating girls soccer opportunities in Roatan. But the real goal is much bigger than the game.
This is something to try to help these kids know you're part of this community, you're part of the future, you have the ability to lead, you can lead.
These girls range from 6 to 13 years old. For most of them, this is the first team they've ever been on, and the need is real.
They just want to play, but they don't have access, they don't have money, they don't mostly have transportation, right? Because their parents have to work.
There were girls playing this last Saturday in Crocs because that's what they had.
They're asking for gently used equipment or funds to buy some as the club works toward becoming a nonprofit based in KC.
Let's not only help girls and make their life fun and give them a safe space to play and give them, something to look forward to every week, but let's also help them build life skills that will get them out of this cycle of just growing up in Honduras or Roatan and only thinking that you can be in the tourism and hospitality industry.
1,600 miles of ocean separate Kansas City from Roatan. But as it turns out, the distance between a girl in a dream and a girl with a chance might just be a pair of cleats. Marlia Campbell, KCTV5 Sports.
I mean, you guys, there really is just so much to love about this organization. The fact that two women who just happened to be there at the same time, they connected, and now they're running this valuable nonprofit. I love it. And it's so empowering to see these girls who previously didn't have an outlet to play sports now have their lives changed forever. And I think just how much fun they were having was so evident. Now, I did want to bring up, if you want to donate some gear or even some cash, you can find a link with how to do that in the KCTV5 news app on this story. And I mean, such a great local tie, especially in what many people consider to be the women's soccer capital in our country. I mean, we are the only women's sports complex out there. CPKC Stadium. It's pretty cool. Well, you guys, that's about all I have for your March Special Projects recap. When we come back from this break, we are going to be breaking down your top local and national headlines. Until then, here is a gorgeous view over the KCTV5 tower. I mean, look at this. It is multicolored tonight. I just can't stop staring at it. Wow. All right, we'll be back in a couple. All right, guys, it's 9:15 p.m. here on the KCTV5 Plus streaming desk. Next, I'm going to break down the top local headlines right here in Kansas City. This first one might shock you. New data actually shows that hit and run deaths in Missouri have surged over the past 10 years, and pedestrians like Arthur Lee are paying the price. Now, safety advocates are demanding action. KCTV5 reporter Morgan Rydell has the story. Take a listen in.
Hit and run deaths in Missouri have jumped, and safety advocates say drivers who flee are costing lives. New data shows hit and run drivers are killing more pedestrians and leaving the scene at twice the rate they did a decade ago. National highway data shows hit and run crashes killed 440 people in Missouri between 2014 and 2023. More than half of them pedestrians. In 2014, about 15% of drivers fled the scene. Today, that number has doubled to 30%. Carly McGinnis with AAA says hit and run crashes have left hundreds of families without answers or accountability. McGinnis says staying at the scene could have saved some of those lives.
These are not just crashes, these are actual people, and they're being left behind on the side of the road when they need help the most. In critical crashes, we know every single second matters. And when the only person who saw what happened to you takes off and doesn't call for help, well, it can quickly cost someone their lives. And what happens then is it leaves the family with so many unanswered questions and also zero accountability in many cases.
I also spoke with the executive director of Bike Walk KC, who's investigating the surge on our streets. I'll have his message and what they're hearing from families tonight at 6. For now, reporting in Kansas City, Morgan Rydell, KCTV5 News.
And next up here, you guys may already heard of this shocking story. Kansas City police now need your help finding the person who attacked an elderly woman at a cemetery. It happened while the victim was placing flowers on her husband's headstone. Now, KCTV5's Jordan Fremstad takes us to a gas station on East Winter and Wallace, where police actually found security video of the suspect. You'll see her in a second. Take a listen in.
According to Kansas City police detectives, that suspect stole that woman's purse and then used her debit card at this express stop gas station on Winter Road and Wallace back on February 17th. Now, some time has passed since then, so we want to keep you updated on what investigators know so far in this case. The managers of this gas station say a detective did pull their security video from their cameras. This is who police captured that they need your help finding. Just to recap, KCPD tells us the suspect pushed the woman in that cemetery to the ground and then stole her purse while the victim was putting flowers on her husband's headstone. Now, minutes later, investigators say the suspect came to this express stop and made a purchase with the victim's debit card. That is how police were able to track down this image. Now, we have spent the day asking police more about this case, but police did not have the victim's name to release at this time or the location of that cemetery where this all took place a little more than a month ago, and they didn't have any more information to give us by our news deadline here on this Tuesday. They are encouraging anyone with information to come forward and call Kansas City police detectives. Jordan Fremstad, KCTV5 News.
Wow, such a tragedy. And again, our hearts and thoughts just go out to that elderly woman, the victim of this. And again, if you want to go back and see the photos of the suspect, maybe you recognize her, you can find that on the KCTV5 website. Now, next up, shifting gears here a bit, no pun intended, but pedicabs roll through most of Kansas City, but one popular destination is off limits. Now, a council member introduced an ordinance last week that would open the plaza to these pedicabs. Now, the city's transportation committee votes on the measure in just a couple of weeks. Now, KCTV5's Zach Fisher talked with the only pedicab company in our whole city and has more on this ordinance as well as what it could mean for the business owners. Let's take a listen in. I'm intrigued.
Riding around the Country Club Plaza could soon look a lot like this, but right now, it's actually against the law.
I had no idea they weren't allowed in the plaza, and honestly, I didn't really know they were a thing in town.
Classic Cup General Manager Jeff Brock says pedicabs could boost pedestrian environment on the plaza, but he does worry about the safety of the drivers and riders.
Welcome aboard. Have you guys ridden one of these before?
A transportation committee takes up the proposal next month. Councilmember Jonathan Duncan is sponsoring the measure, calling pedicabs an eco-friendly transit option for one of the city's most popular destinations. Easy Pedicabs is the only electric pedicab company in Kansas City, and owner Mark Manning wants council approval to bring his fleet to the plaza.
We expect a lot of high demand down there, so we want to, be able to get people to go out and see more, do more, spend more time at businesses, frequent more places, and, help not only locals, but also tourists, but also business owners around here.
Transportation Committee will hear this on April 14th, and the hope is that they can have access to the plaza ahead of all the international visitors for the World Cup. In Kansas City, Zach Fisher, KCTV5 News.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out in the coming months, especially as we're expecting hundreds of thousands of people in just a couple of months, you guys. April is tomorrow. Before we know it's going to be June, and the World Cup games are going to be underway. Personally, I cannot wait. It's going to be very busy, but also a blast right here. Well, next up, we first brought you this story yesterday on KCTV5 Plus, but a community here is trying to pick up the pieces after a devastating strip mall fire. Here's all that's left in Smithville. The fire chief said it started at a Westlake Chinese restaurant and spread fast in the heat and wind. Now, the owners say that these were family-owned businesses, and they're not sure if they will reopen, but the Smithville Area Chamber of Commerce is rallying the community now and working to connect donors with business owners who lost everything. Now, many neighbors stopped by throughout the day to see the damage up close. Take a listen.
We were talking last night with my soccer team at the high school. I mean, we always get La Fuente for our banquet, so don't really know what we're going to do now.
And one of the restaurants just mentioned La Fuente. It's actually started a GoFundMe page to support their staff. Now, if you want to help, you can find a link with this story on your KCTV5 app. And I've got to say, personally, I've also been to that La Fuente. You guys, it is amazing. Definitely going to check out that GoFundMe this week. And I encourage anyone else, if they can, to do so. And if you've been to Smithville, if you know the area, you know that's one of the few strip malls with multiple places to eat in town. So definitely, I know the community is going to step in and support, but hoping that community members from surrounding towns will do the same. All right, guys, next up, this is pretty exciting and kind of surprising for many that after years in the making, the Rock Island Bridge is finally opening, and it's opening tomorrow. It's no April Fool's Day joke. The bridge just sits west of the Hy-Vee Arena. It connects the West Bottoms to the Kansas state line. Here's the renderings that we've received, and it looks incredible, especially at sunset. Now, it will feature a restaurant, a bar, an event space, and a trailhead. This event space can hold hundreds of people as well. Developers are calling it the world's first entertainment district built on a bridge over a river. That bridge, 60 feet above the river. And I did a little digging before this. That bridge was actually built in 1905, before any of us were even born. So crazy to see what it's become over a century later. Now, KCTV5 crews will definitely be out there tomorrow for all of the excitement, and you can continue to see on your screen right now some renderings of what it will look like. You guys, it's going to bring some excitement to the metro for sure. All right, guys, it's just about 9:25 p.m. here. We're going to go on a quick ad break. When we come back, I'll be walking you through what's going on today throughout our country. Thanks for tuning in, and stick with us. Until then, here's a gorgeous look out over the Kansas City skyline, full of blue tonight. I'm sure people are still celebrating that Royals win for yesterday. We'll be back in a couple. All right, you guys, welcome back in. It's just about 9:30 p.m. here on the KCTV5 News streaming desk. We just heard thunder outside of the station, and we have multiple comments asking about storms and that potential. So personally, I'm not a meteorologist, but I can say there is a risk. What I'll tell you to do is hop over to our weather blog that has the latest updates. Meteorologist Melissa Meter also did a live update on here about an hour ago, and she's going to be on your KCTV5 News at 10, so I would tune into her because tonight's not the only chance for severe weather. There are multiple chances throughout this week, actually a bigger chance tomorrow night, I believe. So that would be my advice for you guys. I'm going next to break down the top national headlines of the day. Actually, we're starting internationally out in Haiti. Just recently learning of this, that dozens of people have been killed as armed gangs are attacking civilians and burning their homes. A hospital in St. Mark, which is north of Port-au-Prince, reports treating more than a dozen who are injured, but a rights group estimates that the toll rose to as high as 70 by yesterday alone, and more than 5,000 people are displaced right now. And if you go to KCTV5 News and click on our national tab, you'll be able to find the latest on this story and others like it. Now, I want to take it next to what's going on around our country. The first thing I'm going to bring up to you guys is no surprise, but good to update you guys on nevertheless, and that is our gas prices, you guys. Gas costs more than $4 a gallon for the first time since the Iran war began. Now, AAA reports regular is averaging $4.02, and the U.S. oil benchmark, WTI crude, is hovering above $100 per barrel. And I know it's been kind of teetering around that number for a couple of weeks now, but the international benchmark, Brent crude, is even higher than that. So analysts are worrying that the economic strain of the war also could increase broader U.S. inflation. Now, President Trump is threatening to blow up Iran's oil facilities. That's if it doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And that's a vital energy corridor. Again, I'm sure you've heard this. This has been a pretty commonly shared stat that about 20% of the world's oil travels through that small strait in the Middle East. That's why we're seeing impacts here and in just about every other country right now. Trump is also giving the Iranians an extended deadline. Now, next up, I want to take it to a Supreme Court ruling that's been a really big talker throughout our country. It's about conversion therapy. So a ruling today allows a religious counselor to challenge Colorado's ban on conversion therapy for gay and transgender minors. The decision doesn't strike down the law, but it does send the case back to the lower state courts. Now, that's a blow to LGBTQ advocates. Justice Ketanji Jackson is the only dissenter. Her liberal colleagues say they join the majority because they see the ruling as narrow. And again, we will continue to be tracking this and other national headlines here at KCTV5. I want to give you guys one more update in our nation's capital, and it has to do with the White House ballroom. So there's been a major legal setback with this. This is as, of course, Trump is planning to build this massive ballroom in the White House. So again, a federal judge blocked those plans from moving forward. And in his ruling, he actually wrote, quote, "The president of the U.S. is the steward of the White House for future generations of first families. He, however, is not the owner." Pretty powerful quote there. Now, Leon said the construction on the ballroom must stop, but he said he will delay implementing his ruling for 2 weeks in case the president decides to appeal. Now, above ground construction during that time is not allowed. Also, he says the only way construction can continue is if Congress approves the plans. So these photos you'll see here in a second is what's sitting currently, obviously an unfinished ballroom, quite the mess there. We'll see what happens with that. All right, guys, next up here, taking it to outer space. Well, not quite, but NASA is preparing to send humans toward the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. You guys, I remember this happened when my mom was a little kid. It's crazy to think that people are going back there. Finally, about time. I mean, Artemis 2 mission is set to lift off as early as tomorrow from the Kennedy Space Center. That's in Florida, and it's carrying 4 astronauts. You can see them here. There are 3 Americans and 1 Canadian. And their journey marks a historic mission. It will send humans farther from Earth than ever before. That's a fun fact, pretty scary if you ask me, but the crew won't land on the lunar surface, but it will travel thousands of miles above it, testing systems and hardware above NASA's Orion spacecraft. That's the spacecraft right behind them that they'll be traveling on. Pretty crazy if you ask me. Best of luck to them. They are surely up for that challenge. It's going to be interesting. You know, when they sent those celebrities to space a few months ago, I think it was Gayle King, Katy Perry, a few others. It was, even though they were up there for like an hour or so, it was really fun to see the videos and see them floating in the spacecraft. So I'm excited to see some footage from these professional astronauts as well. All right, guys. Now, of course, before we end the national news update, I've got to bring you some pop culture, and it has to do with our very own Taylor Swift. I mean, I feel like by now Kansas City can claim her, especially now that Travis is staying with the Chiefs at least another year. It's great PR for our city. All right, guys. Swifties hoping to see their favorite pop star, however, in her new music video. You guys, we're out of luck. That's because she released a video for her song Elizabeth Taylor, but she's not in it. Instead, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to break down what's in it. So it's a montage of clips featuring Taylor from her classic film roles, and right now you can only see it on Apple Music and Spotify Premium. Swift has done that before, and a YouTube release always came a few days later. Now, no word on if that's going to happen or when it is, but I have a feeling she'll probably release it to the public soon if you had to ask me. This video's release coincides with the last day of Women's History Month, and I've got to say, she's quite the mastermind. I don't think that was a coincidence. It seems like everything Taylor does has a big plan, down to the numbers of the dates that she does things on. All right, guys, if you're not a Swiftie, maybe this next pop culture update will resonate with you a little bit more. 90s rock band Weezer is spending the summer preparing to hit the road, and here's a look at their tour poster. Pretty cool and edgy if you ask me. But before that, a new single from their 20th studio album will be released tomorrow. Then on Friday, tickets for the fall tour will go on sale. It kicks off in September and it will hit 32 cities. You guys, I'm going to be honest, I don't know yet if Kansas City is on that list, so I'm going to do a quick Google search because I feel like that's only right. Let's see. So, I'm not seeing that they're coming to Kansas City, but who knows? They could add more, or maybe I'm reading this wrong. Wait, you guys. Oh, nope. Last time they were in Kansas City, it looks like it was 2019. So fingers crossed they make another stop. All right, guys, taking a quick ad break. When we come back, we are going to be taking a look back at the heart of Kansas City. That was featured each Sunday morning as a part of our public affairs show, Kansas City on the Record. So until then, we are going to give you a gorgeous look out over the Kansas City skyline. Thanks so much. All right, you guys, welcome back in. We've just got about 20 minutes till your KCTV5 news at 10. I know we've got some people commenting, asking about the weather. I just chatted with meteorologist Melissa Meter. She's actively preparing you for your KCTV5 news at 10, so be sure to tune in there. You can also look at the First Warn 5 weather blog. We have constant updates on there as well, giving you not only what you can expect tonight, but what you can expect throughout the entire week, as there are days with multiple first warns. And again, under 20 minutes until your KCTV5 news, when Melissa will have you covered. Now, until then, next up, we're going to be breaking down the Heart of Kansas City segments from the month of March. So if you have not heard of Heart of Kansas City, it's a feature on our weekly public affairs show that airs every Sunday morning at 10:30. That's called Kansas City on the Record, where we speak with different local leaders and lawmakers on issues directly affecting people here in Kansas City. But the Heart of Kansas City features a different person or organization that's doing good work in our community. I've got to say, what we covered in the month of March truly just swept me off my feet. I mean, just the vast array of different projects that are going on. I had no idea. So first up here, I want to walk you through what you're about to watch. So sometimes the Heart of Kansas City can be forged in the most difficult times, especially, if a family's going through mental health struggles or behavioral crises. Not knowing where to turn can be one of the most challenging parts. Well, one local man is turning his survival story into a sanctuary for youth in Wyandotte County. Now, KCTV5's Ali Espinosa shows us how he's rewriting the script, but this time he's rewriting it on the mat.
On the mats of one community in Wyandotte County, Ray Freeman isn't just teaching jiu-jitsu. He's rewriting stories.
My mother lost her parental rights when I was 12. It sent me and my sisters into the foster care system. I aged out of foster care, carried a lot of trauma into my adulthood without even knowing what trauma was.
The system told Ray he was destined to fall.
Who's been here before?
But 6 years ago, exactly this month, he opened these doors. Proof that destiny is something you create, not inherit.
I don't get paid a whole lot of money to do this. I don't do this for glory, right? I just want to plant seeds in other people that might be able to grow into a better potential.
Now dozens of kids and adults walk through one community, learning more than submissions and escapes.
Maybe their kid might be struggling with depression or ADHD or, grades, behavior issues. We really believe that jiu-jitsu can help put you on a better path to dealing with those things.
Including his biggest student, 9-year-old Jory.
He always has fun. He's always a great guy and a good friend to be around.
From a kid the system gave up on to the man who refuses to give up on any kid that walks through his door. Reporting in Wyandotte County, Ali Espinosa, KCTV 5 News.
Wow, and hearing those kids laugh and have fun while learning jiu-jitsu in such an empowering environment, it really just tells you everything that you need to know. Such an empowering story. And next up, this is a decision that most of us take for granted. It's picking out what shoes we want to wear before we walk out the day heading to work or school. But many people experiencing homelessness don't have any options, and a local nonprofit and shoe store have a partnership to do something about it. KCTV5's Chandler Watkins reports how they have already helped hundreds of people in our area. Let's take it over now.
Our mission is to make sure that everybody's taken care of to the best of our ability.
It's like clockwork at Winter Park. Every Tuesday afternoon, volunteers with Open Table KC make their way to the spot off I-435 and Winter Road.
We feed anyone struggling with houselessness or anyone struggling with food insecurity.
Founder Tammy Raper has been doing this over 8 years. During that time, she and others saw needs beyond a hot meal. They began handing out blankets and other items. They noticed many of the people they're serving didn't have proper shoes or no shoes at all.
We've got several people in our community that has lost toes from frostbite.
One day, a volunteer was shopping at the Running Well store and saw a box of shoes the company was planning on recycling. The timing couldn't have been better. General Manager Angela Reed was looking to get more involved in her community.
Kansas City small businesses are so integral to community and community outreach. So when he asked if we would donate shoes, I jumped on the opportunity, and it's just been great ever since.
The partnership has produced over 1,000 pairs of shoes for those who need them. They've got so many donations, they've been able to share shoes with other local organizations. Raper says it not only highlights the massive need, but shows the community has stepped up to address it.
Kindness is free, and you can literally help save somebody's life. And I don't think some people realize it's literally their lives that's at stake out here.
Reporting in Kansas City, Chandler Watkins, KCTV 5 News.
So great to see what the Running Well store and this nonprofit are doing by collaborating. I mean, just seeing that video of all those shoes laid out on the table that are going each to a person to change their lives. It truly is incredible. Now, next up here, for many foster kids, even the basics can be very hard to come by. Well, the Rotary Club in Liberty, Missouri is taking steps to provide some essential goods to these children. Now, KCTV5's Jordan Fremstad, he shares the soul that a pair of shoes brings children not only here, but around the world.
We're all interested in serving. We're all interested in making the world a better place.
Service ties communities together.
We do take care of people.
Larry Lunsford always puts his best foot forward.
Well, I can't imagine, life without the opportunity to do something for someone else.
He leads the Missouri Rotary Club district effort to donate shoes.
Was looking for a project that all the Rotary clubs could do together. 25 years is amazing, and I probably could never convey the benefit that a pair of shoes provides to a child who's orphaned or vulnerable.
Larry works with Dallas-based nonprofit Buckner International to get shoes for children in foster care around the world.
To probably about 30 to 35 countries.
Did we mention where Larry's traveled to deliver these shoes?
One to St. Petersburg, Russia, one to Guatemala City, Guatemala.
2 young boys in need, both with the same name.
Victor. That is as powerful to me as I relay that right now.
2 victors and 1 grateful reaction.
Yeah, you would be right about that. You would be right about that. This is going to make a difference for that child.
It means they're going to be healthier.
Rotary District Governor Jody Sundaram sees the impact.
Now they own something.
At some level, it's just the basic human gift from one to another.
It also gives them, I think, a big confidence boost.
It makes them feel important.
Important.
Changes lives.
Lives that matter.
Yes.
This is bigger than a pair of shoes.
Hope laced together through generosity so children can take the next step in their lives.
I'm proud to represent so many unbelievable people that are willing to do this and so much more to make the world a better place.
Jordan Fremstad, KCTV 5 News.
Wow. We're all interested
From right
in serving.
here
We're all
in Kansas City to different countries around the world, these shoes are definitely making so many people's lives better. It's cool to see different nonprofits take different approaches to this as well. And next up here, a good way to know the heart of a person is to see how they accept and welcome people who are different from them. Now, KCTV5's Betsy Webster shares the story of Kelsey Leedy. She's created a place of belonging for people who don't always feel like they fit in.
Whoa, good job. Here we go.
If you want to see why this game night is so meaningful, look a little closer at who's playing. It's for people like Maddie Leedy and his stepmom, Kelsey, is the reason this is happening.
It's so cool in here. There's pickleball, there's snacks and everything.
There are more families like Maddie and Kelsey Leedy than you might realize.
He's like taught me how to be a better person, just how joyous he is. And
she first brought Maddie to Abundant Life for their special needs Sunday school, a place the pastor created for people often overlooked.
We want to make sure that everyone not only feels seen, but everyone sees the value intrinsically of every human being.
When he wanted to expand that ministry, Kelsey took the charge.
having Maddie in my home, I know the everyday struggles of being a family with special needs, but I also know the joy of it. And so I wanted to bring hope to families.
Pastor Phil Hopper says her impact is immeasurable.
Like Kelsey has affected the DNA of our body. It's not just what she does, it's what she is.
The biggest event so far was hosting the Tim Tebow Foundation's Night to Shine, a prom of sorts where special needs VIPs strutted the red carpet.
The simple joy and the innocence that was in the room, that just, it made us all a little more innocent in that moment.
It was infectious for us too. A moment where blessings offered became blessings received.
Thanks to Kelsey's outreach and dedication, Abundant Life Special Needs Ministry now serves about 170 families like these. She said they have about 50 on any given week. In Lee Summit, Betsy Webster, KCTV 5 News.
To see the joy on all of those students' faces, whether they're playing pickleball or they're at a Night to Shine with the Tim Tebow Foundation, really is such a special ministry. So glad we featured it here on the heart of Kansas City. We've got one last story to bring you guys now. You've probably heard of the Habitat for Humanity. They've done incredible work in our community, and they've actually been working to put families in homes for 5 decades now. And it's only possible because of people from Kansas City stepping up and giving their time. Now, sometimes it can be a messy gig if you haven't seen it before, but as KCTV5's Morgan Rydell tells us, there's one volunteer who couldn't wait to get her hands dirty and make a difference in our community.
Here, Kim LaFollette is in her element.
Well, I've always liked doing projects.
Though not always where she's found herself.
If I wasn't traveling, I spent probably 10 hours plus a day on a computer.
It was her career, but the whole time she couldn't shake a memory from 30 years ago.
And I had a friend who asked me if on a Saturday I'd work a volunteer project called Christmas in October, where we went and did a rehab on a home that the owner was going to be evicted. It was a one-day project. There was like 40 people there. And at the end of it, she was like literally crying. And she came around and hugged every single one of us. And the way that she felt and the way that made me feel, that's like such a special memory for me.
So when she finally retired in 2024, she knew exactly where to go.
It's time to look up Habitat for Humanity. It's time to see what I can do with them.
A simple step that seemed small at first.
All I did was paint and paint and paint, paint.
And kept showing up. Since joining Habitat just 1 year ago, Kim has showed up every week.
We call ourselves the regular Wednesday crew.
Learning new skills from those around her.
Some of these guys are like master carpenters.
But what she really found was even bigger than she imagined.
I always know which homes I've worked on. I mean, you never forget that.
Helping families build their own future.
Those kids never probably would have been able to have a pet. They wouldn't have been able to go out and play in the front yard.
A payoff she gets to see firsthand as the Wednesday crew moves on to the next project.
When I get here in the morning and they're all going out to the school buses, that's when it's really obvious, you know, and they're happy and they're running and playing and stuff, so it's good, it's really good. I can sit and watch them until somebody comes along and says, get back to work. I don't plan on quitting until I have to.
In Kansas City, Morgan Rydell, KCTV 5 News.
Wow, she gets out there every week to make someone's home a better place. I absolutely love that story, and you can actually submit your story suggestions on the KCTV5 website for the chance for someone you know to possibly be featured on the Heart of Kansas City. You guys, we've got just a few minutes until your KCTV5 news at 10. I know we keep getting comments about the weather. Melissa Meter will be giving you that update shortly. What I want to do now is just give you guys a live look over the Kansas City skyline. And thank you so much for joining. We'll be back on the streaming desk bright and early tomorrow morning.